he comes in on his own, I guess. Uh-oh. Okay. Sam Colton says hi. Colton's watching. Oh, he has headphones on. My own children are not participating on the live version because I wouldn't be able to help them. So they'll be doing it later if they'd like. Hi, Max. Good morning, Kaden. Hi, Natalie and Addison. My students know that I love coffee, so I had my coffee this morning. Not my first cup. I believe I made this video public, so if somebody's still trying to friend me, they should be able to see it without being my friend at this point, I think. I am not great at this, so we're doing our best. So I'll wait probably, yesterday I think I started about 10:03 to give everybody a chance to get on live. Then I'll do a quick little recap, and then we'll get started with today's animals. I had some requests yesterday, so I tried to fulfill those with 3 animals today. I have 2 on deck for tomorrow based on requests. So if there's anything you want to see in your zoo, you can comment and I'll try to do my best to fulfill that. So quiet, I feel like I should have some music. I think I said that yesterday. Should have had some music playing. Some Irish music. So just like yesterday, you'll need paper for practice. Remember, you started your final zoo paper yesterday after, well, I guess we started it together and then you worked on it yesterday. And like I said, you can add on to your paper, tape papers together, have a huge zoo map going by the end of our time together. But you definitely will need your scraper and your pencil, an eraser. Somebody's at our door. It's just a package. The dogs are going crazy. Oh, hello. Hank. That's Hank. My students know Hank. Hank is my pug. I talk about him a lot. He's not interested in seeing me. If he wants to come up on my lap, everybody will get to see Hank. Ziggy's walking around too, but I cannot pick Ziggy up on my lap. So I was really sad when I realized we wouldn't be in school today on St. Patrick's Day to wear my t-shirt, and then I realized I can wear it this morning. So I'm wearing my luckiest art teacher ever t-shirt. My favorite. Found it on Amazon, of course. Oh, now I'm seeing more comments. Good morning, everyone. Lots of people out. So many students, so exciting. Thank you so much for being on. I guess I will go ahead and start talking people aren't waiting and being bored. So just to review for some people who are new, I'm an art teacher at Lisbon Elementary in Western Howard County. I live in Ellicott City, so I'm local. I also forgot to say yesterday that I'm also a mom to 3 boys. 2 are still sleeping, and 1 is sitting on the couch watching videos. So they can partake in my art lesson later if they'd like, but I just can't help them if they need it while I'm teaching. So that's why they're not participating here with me. Before I was at Ilchester and Thunderhill. I know I have some former students on this morning and some current Thunderhill and Ilchester students that may not have had me, but just wanted to give them a shot too. I tried to put this video on my my painting page, my painting business, which is Giro Creative, but I couldn't get the live video to work on there, and I didn't want to take that chance that it didn't work this morning. So that's why we're doing it this way, but I believe I've put it on public. So if somebody's not friends with me, they should be able to connect, or at least you can share it with them later. But I will still accept friend requests. In fact, I have a few right here that I'll do real quick. Okay. And so prior to teaching, one of the jobs I've had over the years is I worked at the Maryland Zoo, back when it was called the Baltimore Zoo. So I love zoos and animals and their environments, and learning about them and what they eat and what they do all day. I used to spend a lot of time watching the polar bear Magnet swim back and forth in his enclosure. So I love animals. So that's why I chose to do animals this week with everyone. And if you weren't here yesterday, we started with 3 animals. Yesterday we did an iguana, a giraffe, and a hippo. And we used our scratch paper to practice these animals, and I gave some fun facts about them. And then we drew our own zoo map. So we started by using a cup to make a logo in the center of our final paper. My students know that I always do a practice or idea development portion of our units, and then we work on our final. So this would be considered our final, whereas our practice paper would be our idea development. So if you weren't here yesterday, you do want to create your own zoo logo, and then you're going to start adding your final drawings to this map. These are all the enclosures around. Right now there's 8 in here. We're going to have more than 8 animals, so you'll want either a bigger piece of paper, smaller enclosures if you draw small, or you can start adding your papers together. Okay. Oh, I think I also mentioned yesterday, I hope people got onto the Cincinnati Zoo's website to see them feeding Fiona, and I think her mother, I missed her name, but I think that's what they were doing. We went on a long walk yesterday, and we're running down the street to get back by 3 o'clock so we could watch Fiona. So I'm not sure what they're doing this afternoon, but they will have a live video of another animal at the Cincinnati Zoo Facebook page. That's why it's all tied in together. Okay. So today, after some requests for this animal, we are going to start with a penguin. I love penguins. I think my sister is on here with her kiddos, and she loves penguins. So this is for her as well. The penguins, as we know, do not fly, flightless birds, but they are aquatic, meaning they love to swim. And they have flippers that help them swim, and they eat animals that are found in water, like krill and fish and squid. And most penguins are found in the southern hemisphere, and there's about 17 to 20 living species of penguins. So lots of different penguins. And I remember when I first worked at the zoo, I was surprised that the penguin exhibit was in Africa. And so there are African penguins at the zoo, and African penguins are between 5 and 8 pounds, so they're small, and they're less than 3 feet tall. And they spend a lot of time on their rocks where it's nice and warm, sitting on a nice warm rock, and then they love to swim, and they swim really fast. So when we're drawing our penguins in their enclosure, you want to include a water feature, some place for them to swim, some rocks for them to walk around on and hang out on, and they live in colonies, so you want to have multiple penguins. Okay, so we're going to start with the penguin. Let me get a sip of my coffee real quick. Okay. So like I said yesterday, I'm using a drawing pen so you can see it because pencil doesn't show up really well on the video. But you can use pencil. And there's some parts, I don't believe with this one we have to erase any lines, but the next ones do well. So I'll explain that. Okay. So with the penguin, you want to start with, it's an oval, but it's a very wide oval. Make sure this is not. Are you seeing a glare on there? It sort of looks glary to me. Let me see something. So you're going to start with an oval. It's more on the circle side, so it's more roundish, but it's still an oval. Okay, and then you're going to add a second oval that's not quite in the center. It's a little bit more lower to the bottom than center. Now we're going to add two eyes, which are circles. And if you go outside your original oval line, like I sort of did, you can erase that. I can't erase because I'm using a pen. I keep forgetting which way to go. And then you want to add a beak and pupils. I like to add a little, leave a little white space with the pupils so it has a little glare, like a little reflection. And now we're going to add some little feet that are just little triangles. And then you're going to add the side flippers, and this is a part where you may want to erase. So they're just going to be little triangles that kind of go with the body, but then just come off just a little bit. So if you want to erase the lines here and here, you can. And I think I talked yesterday about being creative and putting your own spin on things. So just because a penguin is generally black and white, maybe with some yellow on it, doesn't mean you have to make your penguin black and white. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're creating your final zoo, that maybe your penguin could be pink or purple or rainbow or have blue spiky feathers on the top of his head. Okay, so just keep it creative. When I show you my final and how it's coming along, I sort of made Easter egg looking penguins. So they're kind of pastel-y colors because it's fun. And why not? It's your own zoo and your own animals. Just have fun with it. So this is penguin. Okay, come back up here. And somebody has come to say hi. Hold on. Come here. Here's Hank. Hank is saying hi to everybody. He's been sitting at my feet while I drew the penguin. So I thought you'd all like to say hi to Hank. He's not so sure. Hi. Okay, bye. All right, moving on to our next animal. Got my little notes here. We are doing, oh, here it is, a sloth. This was also per request. So the sloth is a mammal, and it's known for being very slow, and they're slow movements. They are also found in the tropical rainforest. A lot of our animals yesterday were found in those areas in South and Central America. And they have very low energy, so they need a low energy diet of leaves. Pretty easy. They can swim. They wouldn't prefer to swim, so they don't need water in their enclosure, but they can swim if they need to get away from a predator. They also have green algae that grows on their fur. I didn't know this, so this was an interesting fact that I learned when I was doing my research yesterday. The green algae that grows on their fur that camouflages them into the trees, but it also provides nutrients for them. They only are eating leaves and not moving around very much, so they get these extra nutrients from this green algae that grows on their fur. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So this is our sloth. Oh, hi, he's back. No, you gotta stay down. Okay, so let's turn this over. So our sloth, we're gonna start with sort of, I guess we could call it two rainbows that are connected. And I think if you weren't here yesterday, that's how I explain a lot of things to my students when we're doing setting up a drawing or doing a little bit of a draw along to get us started with our practice. We talk a lot in rainbows or U's or C's or backward C's. So we're going to start with two rainbows, a smaller rainbow that connects to a bigger rainbow. Or you can say maybe it looks like a half a peanut. And this is going to be the sloth's head and back. And you probably figured it's going to be laying down. So then we're going to connect that with a soft line, not a hard line. We don't want to do a straight line because then it's going to look like the sloth was cut in half. We don't want to do that. So we're going to do a soft line to connect it. Now it's going to be easier if we draw the branch that he's laying on first. So we don't want to draw it right underneath because he's not laying right on top. He's laying over it. He's being comfortable. So we would start the line here and come out here. And then the bottom part. And again, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight because it's a branch perfectly straight. No. So there he is, sort of looking like half a mouse almost. Okay, so now we're going to add his legs, and they're draped over the branch. Now, keep in mind this is another time where you might want to erase. So the back leg just comes off the back of the shape and connects here. Now I have a pen, so I can't erase, but you probably want to erase these lines here. And then he'd have a leg that's on the other side of the branch. So you connect it over here. But you don't need to erase this line right here because you want to see the branch because now it looks like he's on either side of the branch. Then you're going to do the same with the front, but the front leg isn't all the way up here by his head. So we have to do the front leg here. And again, erase these two lines. And then the other leg hanging over. But don't erase the branch line because we want to look like he's hanging over that branch. Now we're going to create the face, and the face is sort of like he has a lighter section of his face, and it's sort of like a heart that's been smushed. So the heart that's been smushed, and then he has sort of patches. It almost looks like over his eyes. So we want to draw that shape first. It kind of breaks the plane of our smushed heart. I made mine a little bit too small on the one side. But again, those lines that I went over on my smushed heart, you want to erase those. And then little dots for the eyes. And a little oval for the nose. And then we want to add his little paws, I guess you would call them. I'm just adding little lines here at the bottom. And then to make his toes, just do a couple little lines. As you can fit in there. I did not do research on how many toes they have. And then to dress up the branch a little bit, you can add some branches with leaves. Maybe one in the back here. A little piece of a broken off branch here. You could add little lines to show that it's a log or a tree branch. So this is our sloth. Again, mine looks a little silly because of the lines that I couldn't erase, but you can erase yours. See lots of requests for a panda. Panda was not in the plan today, but I will write him down. I had a list somewhere. I don't know where I put it. And I also saw koala. Koala is on the plan too. Not today, sorry. Shouldn't have gotten your hopes up. So I'll add panda and koala for later this week. Okay. I'll write it down. I can't find my list. Okay. All right, so that was Sloth. And the last animal for today is one of my favorites, the monkey. And if you've ever been to the zoo, you know they have chimpanzee forest, which has indoor enclosures and then an outdoor enclosure for the chimpanzees, which they love because there's so many things to play with, toys, ropes to swing on, baskets to hang in, all of that. So when you're creating your monkey enclosure, make sure you have lots of fun stuff for them to do. So monkeys are mammals. We know the chimpanzee is very closely related to humans as far as DNA. So they do like to do a lot of the things humans do. They spend time with their young when they're born in the wild. I think I wrote down at least 3 years or more that the mothers take care of the babies. They like to play and have fun, play games with each other. So they're very fun to watch. One of my favorites at the zoo are the chimpanzees. And it is called the chimp forest, and there's lots of different monkeys in there, all different kinds. I sort of focused on the chimpanzee as far as my facts, but when you're creating your monkey, you can create whatever kind you want. I'm going to give you a basic, cute little monkey to draw, and then you can add to it and color it however you want. So the chimpanzees are found in savannas, shout out to Savannah again, of tropical Africa. And I said that the babies have a close relationship with their mother for several years. So they're not the kind that has babies and then puts them out in the wild to live on their own. They take care of them like a family. They're very strong and can be very aggressive. If you've ever seen some of the monkeys or the chimps at the zoo fight over a piece of fruit that they have in their enclosure, or sometimes a toy, that's pretty fun to watch. Standing height, they can be 3 to 4.5 feet tall and be between 88 and 132 pounds, so pretty large animals. But their arms are longer than their legs because they walk on all fours like that, and they use their front arms to really move, so they're longer so they can get more of a range of motion. Also, their hair turns gray as they age, like humans do, and many of us might have some gray hairs by the end of this quarantine. What it prefers to eat is they love fruit. And at the zoo, they're given fruit all the time to eat. And sort of they give them sometimes the fruit in things that they have to move or to get the food out to kind of make it a game. So they love fruit, leaves, seeds, bark, and even insects. So lots of fun things you can include in your enclosure when you're thinking about how you're going to draw your monkey or your chimpanzee, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so let's start with that one. Okay, so this one is one that you're going to need to erase. So I'm probably going to draw it twice, or at least the face twice, so it doesn't look so crazy. But you're going to start with drawing a small oval, and this is going to be its mouth area that you're going to end up connecting. Oh, I did not know today was National Panda Day, so we'll have to just put that to tomorrow. I did not know that. That would have been fun to have done that today. So I'll plan that for tomorrow. We'll just celebrate a day late. Okay, so then we add the eyes, the eye area. And this is the part where I was talking about you're going to want to erase. So you want to create an area. It kind of looks like a crazy frog right now. It's not going to look like that at the end. So just like we did yesterday with, I believe it was the iguana, we're going to make a shape around these shapes. And then you're going to erase the inside. So the shape around the shapes is drawing around like that. So you can see my outer line. Then you want to erase all of those inside lines. So it looks like this. Okay. So this is the monkey's front part of his face, where his eyes and his mouth and nose all sit. Now you're going to draw his head, and the head is just going to be a large rainbow. Mine looks a little giant on his head. That's right. He's very smart. Big brain in there. And then you're going to add his eyes, where his eyes are actually going to go, and his nose to those areas. So the eyes are going to go right in there. And his nose, like that. Then you're going to add the smile and the pupils and the ears. Sorry, Hank is eating a bone at my feet. I don't know if you can hear him. And let's go ahead and add, I made my ears a little small, so I'm going to make that the inside of my ear and go around. But if you want to do the inside of your ears, you can. Hope I can fit mine on my page here. It's getting a little crazy. Then we're going to add the body, and the body is a circle that gets cut off by the head. And then we're going to add the legs and arms off. The way this monkey is going to be sitting, I guess, he's going to sort of be, it looks like he's almost flying through the air, but you'll see how I have him done when I show you my final, because he could be hanging on something. Okay. So now we're going to add the arms and legs. They're just sort of two lines that come off the back part of the circle and then sort of off of the head. I see that somebody wrote sloths have little nubby tails. So you can add a tail to your sloth as well. Okay, so now we're going to add the feet and the hands. Looks like my one foot is going to get cut off. And then we're going to add a tail. And the tail is really easy. Just make a spiral. And everybody who has had me for third grade knows all about spirals. So you're going to make a spiral, and then do a second one right next to it and connect them. So there's the spiral. And then to make it a thick tail, you just go back around, same spiral shape, and connect them. And this is your monkey. And just like we were talking about with the penguins, or even with the sloth, with any of the animals, you can make them whatever colors you want to. Just make sure you give them a nice environment to live in with the things that they eat that we talked about, and the things that they need. Maybe other animals like them, or I think I said things to eat, or shade, or things to hang on, or ways to cool off. So I'm going to show you my example that I started working on yesterday, so you can see how I added them to my zoo. So if you weren't here yesterday, we worked on the zoo. I showed at the beginning, and then I showed what I'm working on. So you can see I added my monkey, and I called it a chimp. I didn't call it monkey. Hanging from some ropes, and I gave him some oranges and some bananas to eat and a tire swing to play in. I have my sloth here, and you can see that I totally forgot to draw his back legs hanging over that branch. So I'll have to add those in, and I'm going to add a tail. And then down at the bottom, I have my pastel penguins on their rocks and their little water in front, and then a bucket of fish, because that is what they eat at the zoo. They're fed by the zookeepers and given fish to eat. So here is my zoo so far. And I just used colored pencils for mine. My students know that I like to do pencil, outline with Sharpie, erase pencil lines, because they all know I hate pencil lines, and then fill in with color. But I just used a black colored pencil to outline my animals for this. And of course, we have some more room here that we'll do tomorrow, and we'll do a third animal. So I think I said, well, I have some other requests, but definitely we'll do a panda, and another request I had tomorrow, and you'll just have to tune in to see what other ones you're going to do. I'm going to hold this up for a couple more seconds. And I love, thank you so much for people posting their pictures from their kids that they're doing. I really appreciate it. It's really exciting. I love that you all are on here. It's so much fun. I miss teaching so much. It's been 2 days, and I miss going into school and seeing all of my students. So I love having you all here. It's been so much fun to teach you. I got to wear my shirt today. Really great reason to dry my hair and put on some makeup so I can be presentable to people. So let me know if you have any questions. Like I said at the beginning, this should be public, so people who are not friends with me should be able to see it. If not, I'll still accept friend requests, and I'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Have fun drawing your zoo. Bye.